Hello guys, this is Miss Win again. Today we are going to work on letter with curves. I'm going to draw my guidelines for this assignment. Now the guidelines, distance will be 2 inches. That's why I'm marking at 2 inches right now. We will have 8 letters to work on today. So I'm going to put 4 on top and 4 on the bottom. So my goal is to have 2 sets of guidelines for 4 letter on top and 4 letter on the bottom. So right now I'm building my first box for my first letters. But I'm going to draw all the boxes all at once before I start all the letters, so that saves me time. Again, just a reminder, the width of the box is 1.5 inches. So every box will have the same width and height. I keep my boxes a little bit away from each other so my letters do not stick together. The letter we'll be working on is P, B, R, D, O, C, G, and S. For the letter P, B, and R, I'm going to divide the boxes in half horizontally. So you see here, I'm going to draw a line across each box for these letters. Because there's the part in the bottom of the letter P that we don't need. So let's start with the back of the letter with just a line straight down. Now the thickness is up to you, but I like my letters to have around that thickness. And on the top, it's just a curve. So I'm going to add a curve on top. The curve don't have to touch the box outline. It can be a little bit smaller. And you would just add a smaller letter D in the inside. Keep the thickness of the letter throughout the same so they look evenly. I'm always start with the back of the letters. Now I'm keeping the thickness of the letters similar to the letter P because I want all the letters look the same. The top part of the letter B with a curve just like a letter P, but it's a little bit smaller. And then you will add a little belly in the bottom, almost like a number 3. Now for the inside, you can also add a smaller D to make it look hollow. And that will be it for your letter B. Make sure you clean up, outline if you need to. All right, let's move on to our next letter, R. Again, start with the back of the letter. Keep the thickness the same. The R is also similar to the letter P. Now there's a leg that starts from the bottom. I'm going to show you how to draw a leg. I will start with the little shoe in the bottom. This shoe will be the same thickness of the letter. From the shoe, I'm going to draw a diagonal lines. Now these are a pair of lines, so they are parallel with each other. As always, don't forget to outline your letters and clean up. This will help your letter look nicer. All right, let's work on our letter D. Again, back of letter first. For the letter D, I'm going to add a curve. The farthest part of the curve will have to touch the box. And then you're going to add a smaller curve in the inside. and make sure you remain the thickness of the letter the same as the others. We are moving on to letter O, C, G, and S. First thing first, I'm going to divide these boxes into 4 parts. Instead of 2, they will be divided horizontally. I'm going to do for 3, O, C, and G, and vertically. There are points on the box that you can mark. So there are 4 of them. I marked them so you can see which point I'm talking about. So the first thing is I'm going to connect these points with a curve. Don't be afraid of making a curve. So I'm doing dashes lines because I'm not sure my curve look right. So what I do is I'll go back and adjust these curved lines to make it perfectly curved, or at least look nicer. To create the part inside the letter O, I'm going to mark 4 points. Now, from this 4 point, I can draw another oval inside the letter O, almost like an egg shape. I'm doing the same technique where I adjust the curved line to make it even. For the letter C, I will start out with the 4 point as well. It's very similar on how to draw the letter C as the letter O. So you're seeing here that I'm repeating the same steps. Now I'm going to turn this into a letter C by adding 2 horizontal lines. So you can see here I'm adding 2, one on top and one on the bottom. Now after you start cleaning up, the letter C will start revealing. So you can see how the letters are very related to each other. All you need to do is remove a certain part. Let's move on to the letter G. For the letter G, again, I start out with the points. Now, I'm going to turn this letter into a C first, and then I'm going to add the little arm where the G have. So right now, I'm just going to work on the C, just pretending that I'm drawing a letter C. Once you got the letter C, this is how you start adding the arm to turn it into a letter G by adding the little square or rectangle shapes in the inside. Here I'm using the guideline that we have from the beginning to help me guide that shape. So all I need to do left is to outline the letter and clean up. All right, we're going to work on our last letters. So start with the top and bottom marks. I'm going to add a bit of a curve here and a little bit of a curve on the bottom, almost like a letter O. I'm just going to go back and make sure my curve look right. I'm going to add the opening of the S on the top and at the bottom. This will determine the thickness of your letter. All right, we're going to start to drawing the curve in the inside of the S. This curve can be a little tricky, so I'm going to do it very slowly here. To close up this letter, I'm going to add another curve on the outside. Now you must go back and adjust your curve, your lines, and your thickness of the letters because there's a lot of curve involving in the letter S, and all I'm doing right now is outlining the letters. Make sure the curves are looking good, and that's it. I am done.